There is nothing in this world that can trouble you as much as your own thoughts. Hi, welcome to this week's Ask Jay. Jay here from Jayson Mair Coaching, your relationship coach, asking your relationship questions. Thank you for joining us this week. Now I've got two questions we're going to answer today because they've got a very similar theme. And the questions are, I get so upset and panicked when I text my boyfriend and he doesn't text back for ages. I tell him he's selfish, but he says I'm making a big deal about nothing. Who's right here? And the second one, my wife likes to go out with her girlfriends occasionally. How do I stop myself from obsessing if she's really with her friends or a guy when I know she really isn't? P.S. I've been cheated on in the past and it broke me. How do I deal with this? As you can tell, this week's episode is about overthinking, the thing that does our head in a lot. We think we've got it right and sorted and boom. No, we question it and question it and question it and question it and question it. I got an interesting study that backs up what we're talking about, which I'll tell you about at the end as well. So when you're overthinking, you've got to look at the things that are causing it. So the three things I want to cover today when it comes to overthinking and overanalyzing and doing your head in is you've got to get an understanding of why are you overthinking. So let's look at the facts. Let's sit down, and these are the things you need to do to really get clear on it, to get an understanding of what's going on. So ask yourself straight away, one, is it in relation to trust issues? So do you have any trust issues in the relationship now? Or is it from the past? Is it even past relationships where, as this gentleman has said in one of his questions, you know, he's been burnt in the past and he's worried about what his wife is up to, when really the question is there anything she's doing that is leading to him not trusting her, or is it just, you know, baggage from the past? You've really got to get clear on that, because then once you get clear on that, you can really knuckle down and get to the core of what's causing it. Is it also recent? Is it something that you've been dealing with since childhood? You know, it might be something that you've always felt that way. So have you always overthought, later in life, or you've always overthought from when you were a kid? That can be a big thing. And also, do you think more because you're stressed? Is it stress or anxiety related? That can be a really big thing to trigger these things off. And even ask yourself, and don't be afraid to ask, is it related directly, indirectly to a mental illness? Now, if it is, don't panic. The best thing to do when it does come to something like this is even seek out a medical professional, like a psychologist or a psychiatrist or someone you can discuss it with. I mean, a lot of people get worried when we suggest that, but this day and age, it's like 1 in 3 people go and see a psychologist to talk about, what it is. And it doesn't matter if you're a single mum or if you're a paid professional, you need to really sit down and just talk it out, get it off your chest, because, this is what it's about. So don't be afraid to do that. But you've really got to dig down and understand why it's there, what's triggering it off. So tip number 2 we'll go into is, when does it happen the most? So when you break it down, you've got to look at a couple of things like, okay, do I overthink, when I'm tired? If you're not getting enough sleep, we find a lot of my clients will talk about, they're so tired and stressed out, and they start questioning things and they're overthinking things. And even when I say overthinking, they're not just overthinking, and worrying about what other people are doing, but they overthink what they do and their own decisions and stuff like that. So, and it usually happens if they're tired. Are they sick? Do they get sick a lot? And that causes it on. Also, you've really got to look at the triggers in that. Do you do it when you're in a relationship more than if you're a single person? If you do it all the way through, okay, that's eliminated as well. It's just that you overthink, either way sort of thing. Also, time, do you stress and overthink more in the morning? maybe in the afternoon, maybe, sitting around at night. We get some people that say to us that they overthink a lot when they're sitting at home at night and watching TV, and they just get thinking about stuff, and then they overthink, and then they question this, and they stress and they worry. Is this happening? Is that happening? Are they talking about me? Are they talking about not me? Do they indirectly say it? Sometimes I had a question last year. It was about Facebook posts, and an overthinker was like, are they talking about me? I wonder if it's about me. I don't know if it's about me. And it happened to happen when they were sitting at night at home, going through their Facebook post by themselves, and it stressed them out like you wouldn't believe. So you really did think. Another thing, please don't get me wrong here, but also think about, is it hormonal? Because if it's hormonal, you got to be careful when you say that. And tip 3 is what to do to help the situation. So go through the questions I asked you just in tip 1 and 2. Really start to ask yourself these questions and get really clear on what your triggers are, what could be setting it off, what's behind it. As I said, go see a medical professional if you need extra help, or send me an email as well. You've also go get busy, keep your mind busy. Because when you're sitting there doing nothing, that's when you overthink the most. So a lot of recommendations, a lot of experts will talk about, and I even recommend a lot as well, is to stimulate your mind, get your mind busy. It can be anything from doing crosswords to puzzles, to then getting out and doing some exercise. It's amazing. And I know some areas you can't exercise, or sometimes because you work during the day and you don't want to exercise at night and go out. But think about whatever exercise, if you're exercising, it might be going for a walk, it might be going for a run, it might go to the gym. Also looking at hobbies, looking at a hobby you can do to work, stimulate your mind. So I think it's the same with puzzles and stuff like that before. It might be a computer game if that's something you like. Talking on the phone to family and friends and stuff like that. But when you're talking on the phone, talk to people who are positive people that really get you thinking. Because you really want to challenge the thought rationally. You don't want to just, teeter on it a little bit and that's about it. Movies are a good thing. You go to the movies, you're stimulated for, 2, sometimes 3 hours sort of thing, thinking about things that have nothing to do with your life, take you away. And my favorite, as you can tell with the collection I've got over here and each week, the different album cover, is music. But also the key thing to all this is be kind to yourself. When it comes to overthinking, my partner Angela Bradley, being a psychologist, one of her biggest topics she really talks about is your inner voice. And overthinking is your inner voice saying the wrong things to you. It's really going, what do you think they're doing? What do you think? Do you think they're talking about you? Do you think they're really doing this? Do you think they're really doing that? I bet they're doing that. And you're like, no, just leave me alone. This is why you need to clear your mind and get busy and stop doing it. But be kind. If that voice is telling you something, there's a reason that voice is telling you it. They're trying to protect you. But at the same time, sometimes you might just have to acknowledge it and say, thank you very much, but I got this under control and I need to go and do this. So use that. So the 3 tips, as I said before, is why you're overthinking. Go through the points of why you're doing it, where it's coming from, when does it happen the most. So time of day, if you're sick and whatever else, remember that, and what to do about it. Keep busy. Really just keep busy. Be kind to yourself. Another thing too, comedy. Comedy is a great thing. Laughing. You can't be mad and analyze stuff when you're crying with tears. Get on YouTube and look at funny cat videos or dog videos, or some of the funniest comedians, some of the best comedians around. Robin Williams, fantastic guy. See some of his stuff live at the Hollywood Bowl, some of the best comedy you could ever see. That will distract you from everything, because that'll just make you feel a hell of a lot better and turn that frown upside down. So now, as I said before, there is a little study that actually backs this up that's recently come out. And let me just go through this because I wanted to get this right. The University of Liverpool, in cooperation with the BBC UK University study, was in stress. A total of 32,827 people were involved in this study from 172 countries. Showed that life events were the largest predictors of stress, followed by family stress, income, and a few others. But the key thing here, when it came to this study, that showed that stress alone only occurred if the individual engaged in negative overthinking about the events, and showed that people who did not do this did not become as stressed and depressed, even if they experienced many negative events in their lives. So this just backs up scientifically the proof that they're actually, if you're overthinking a lot, doesn't matter if it's a negative event that's happened. If you're thinking negatively, you will overthink it, over question it. That inner voice will telling you, and it'll drive you freaking crazy. Turn that music on, pump the music up, be kind to yourself, and just, really get it sorted. I know I'm talking to a professional about it, and that's a bit hard, but I'll tell you now, the amount of effort and damage it's doing to you by overthinking, I know relationships, that have just ended because they've questioned so much about their partner that the partner's gone, look, I can't, it doesn't matter what I do, you don't trust me, and I can't do that. You can't expect someone who's had friends and go out and do things, and then all of a sudden you want them not to because you're worried about who they're going to be with or what they're doing with those people, and that it hurts. It hurts inside. It hurts them. It hurts everyone around you. And you don't need that. Really? Is that what you want? No. So just remember that. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this week. I hope this has helped the two people who send the questions in, and I hope it's helped you for watching as well, because, we've just got to be a little bit kinder to ourselves. And, that little voice is trying to protect us. It's trying to help us. But at the end of the day, we need to take control, be an adult, and go, thank you very much, but I got this covered, baby. So thank you. Thank you for watching. Now, if you like this video, don't be afraid to share it, tag someone in it, hit the notifications on there, or subscribe to this video. So each time we put them up, you get an alert that we're here, and you get your latest tips about relationships and everything else. Share them away. I don't mind if you send a copy to your partner, if you've got a partner, or send it to your parents and whoever you know is an overthinker. And if you know someone who's an overthinker, or you know of what happens, you have advice on what you can do to help overthinking on top of what I've given, by all means, put it in the comments below. Share it around. Look, we're just here to help. Thank you very much for watching this week's episode of Ask Jay. Appreciate your time wherever you are in the world. Thank you. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.